There's nothing creepier than when your food moves on its own. Posted to TikTok by Jake M to Pat, a woman is seen placing several small bowls out on a table for dinner. She notices one of the bowls twisting and sliding around on its own. She picks it up and wipes the bottom, thinking it might be that the bowl is wet. Placing it back, it still seems to twist for a moment. Is this just moisture at play? Or do we have a hungry ghost on our hands? Well, we've all heard the story of Old Nessie, aka the Loch Ness Monster. You haven't seen anything like this footage. Published by Mark Hayes in October of 2014, the mythical creature surfaces in this scary video. The footage shows something large adrift in the middle of Loch Ness. The enormous creature breaks the surface with its eel-like body. It weaves around the lake, coming closer and closer toward the camera. Birds fly down, appearing to land on its back for a moment before flying off again. The creature's body even seems to curve up out of the water. While I've never seen a more convincing Nessie video, skeptics in the comments have me questioning things. Some commenters say it moves too rigidly and mechanically, and is more likely to be an underwater cable or a water dredge system utilizing a hose. Others think it could be an animal, not a monster, with Sue Copening writing, "Recently they have found eel DNA in the lochs in great numbers. Nessie could simply be members of a large species of eel, or perhaps eels. Is that all Nessie is? A gigantic eel?" It certainly has me questioning things. This man is panicking, and he has reason to. Published by Healet Videolari in November of 2013. The creepy footage he captured will have you on edge. Though there's no context to this clip, the man is in a room alone, and he's very much afraid.
Guys, this is the area where I've seen a spirit roaming freely.
What of? We're not sure yet, until...
Hey, are you there? Are you there inside? Oh my God! Oh my God!
After freaking out some more, the man wheels around the frosted window panel, and there's no one behind it. To whom does this hand belong? I'd wager the Invisible Man. A YouTuber wants to go exploring at an old abandoned school on the edge of the town in Searsboro, Iowa, a place rumored to be haunted and made even scarier by some nearby creepy woods. The school was shut down 2 times and nobody really knows why, or at least the local townsfolk don't want to say. The inside is trashed and has no power, and yet their equipment makes a low rumble from an electronic disturbance coming from this stairway. Notice how the sound goes away as soon as they turn away from the steps.
Do we even want to triangle with that?
I mean, yeah, I keep trying.
Or should we go this way?
I thought I heard from over here. Let's just explore that area.
Should we go across the catwalk or this way?
Something paranormal is definitely up there. A strange feeling keeps them all away. In the next room, this rope moves by itself and then a bucket quickly follows. A second rope gets pulled and it's hard to say if all of this is a ghost or one of them off camera. On their way out of the abandoned property, they find this creepy secret room. Why a school would have a hidden room is beyond me, and also beyond creepy. Keeping a student down there would definitely get your school shut down. They find another small room hidden away and decide to go in. Inside is a message that says something bad happened in this secret room. It's an old worn message written long ago, not by them but perhaps a former student. A creepy noise ends the exploration as fast as it began, and when they look back at the abandoned building, they see what could be a pale ghost in the window. A YouTuber in Toronto called Nadell E claims to have heard scary sounds coming from the sky that many people have been calling sky trumpets. Tell me if you think these scary sounds from over the sky in Canada are real or fake. It's realistic how the sky sounds get louder after he opens the window, but that could be editing. Some people are saying that they've heard this same sky noise, while others are saying that this has to be fake and that they've heard the sound effect before, but don't say where they've heard it from. Likewise, Nadell E kind of says that this video is fake, but it might be sarcastic, like he's saying this event is real and one day you'll see. How do you interpret this comment? Here's the sky noise again. Tell me what this is and if you've heard it anywhere before. At the Devil's Gate Dam, Kelsey Davies and her crew communicated with the ghost of a twisted individual who took many lives. As soon as they set up their devices, they start to get a reading.
On here. I just touched your boob, I'm sorry. I love how we both moved back. Like, it turned 180. I know.
Then, shortly after, they come into contact with Val.
Are you here with us? Can you cross the dowsing rods if you're here?
They ask if she's near.
Seen the REM pod go off? Yeah.
Later, they come across a lot of strange debris.
Is that a wallet? What? What is all this? Someone's backpack? Their comb? Oh no, this is a lunchbox.
Does this stuff belong to those who lost their lives at the hands of Val? They return late at night and confirm Val's presence.
Val, is that you?
And they are given a warning.
Oh my Oh my right, it said leave. You said welcome to that flashed and it said leave, Joey. I have the chills.
I may be old school, but if the ghost of a life taker tells you to leave, I really think you should listen. It's not often you see a shooting star fly skyward. Redditor DJ Half shares this video captured in Miami, writing, "Shooting stars don't go up." Some of these flares don't look like shooting stars to me, but I'm not sure what they could be. Of course, commenters have some theories. Well, these are great guesses. A now deleted Reddit account suggests that it could be caused by spinning spotlights from the Miami Heat versus Toronto Raptors game that happened on that day, reflected off low cloud cover. But the Redditor says this was taken from a traffic cam at around 4 or 5 a.m. at a distance about 5 miles away from that stadium. So, back to the drawing board on this one. I guess I'll go with upside down shooting stars. Do you choreograph TikTok dances? If so, you'd better skip this one. Published to YouTube by Unknown Barbados in April of 2020. This video will have you checking over your shoulder the next time you gear up to press record. The video shows a woman dancing outside a brick building with a darkened hallway behind her. As she dances like nobody's watching, unbeknownst to her, someone is. Look over her shoulder as she does her moves. This woman is not alone. Someone with long dark hair and a pale face that's unusually blurred peers from behind her for a split second before vanishing back into the shadows. A nightmare specter spectator if I ever saw one. What would you do if you saw this in one of your TikTok posts? Probably would be the end of your TikToking career. It's not fun and games anymore when something like this happens. Posted to the Very Spooky Video subreddit by Adam Gray 59. The Redditor is wondering if this is poltergeist activity. In the video, some gamers are playing Call of Duty, and the gamer on screen appears to have gone for a bathroom or snack break. His chair is empty, or maybe it isn't. The chair starts swiveling quietly around. Of course, this unnerves the player on the opposite side of the screen. Is a ghost occupying this chair? Redditor Tommy MCY in the comments says, it's a gamer ghost. While others are more skeptical, saying things like chairs simply do that on their own. So, gamer ghost or just an off-kilter chair? I'd like to think a ghost was at the controls. These ghost hunters in Texas capture a rare paranormal sighting on their night vision camera. I'm willing to bet you didn't see this on the first try, so I'll tell you where to look. Check out the grassy section and you'll see a small black ball cross the road. They don't see anything else for a while, and then the strange black dot comes back only to disappear again. I was thinking it could be some kind of wildlife until it literally vanishes from sight, which obviously no living creature should be able to do.
Are you aiming down that way? Mm-hmm. Something went across the road. You see that little light thing, that reflector on the left?
It's hard to say if this video is really paranormal or simply due to a baby's loose grip. Keisha Vasquez is singing to her child when, in her eyes, a hairbrush is ripped from her daughter's hands. Watch the moment it happens and tell me if you think she dropped the brush or if it was taken by an unseen force. Bebe, que linda, que bella. At first, I was inclined to write this off as a fumble, but notice how at approximately 10 seconds, an orb crawls along the right side of the screen seconds before the hairbrush leaves her hands, followed by more orbs immediately afterwards. Since these orbs could be an indication of the supernatural, I think either explanation holds weight, and I look forward to getting your thoughts. A YouTuber named Johnny Paranormal decides to also go into the infamous Aokihara forest. He boosts the sound of his microphone to capture every paranormal sound, and he is surprised at what he records. For example, tell me if you hear a demonic growl here. Or a quick coughing noise here despite Johnny Paranormal being all alone. Or a second person quietly whispering the word help.
How's this?
These creepy sounds continue to follow him throughout the entire video, which is roughly an hour and a half long. I think that's way more editing than most people would be willing to put into a fake video, so I think there's a strong possibility that this is real. What's especially concerning is this demonic noise that follows him wherever he goes.
It's saying my battery's going flat. Again.
If Johnny Paranormal really was surrounded by the supernatural, then I hope nothing followed him out of the forest. When the paranormal team Cazadores de Sombras went to investigate this ritual site, what they found was a living nightmare. As they approached the site, they find what appears to be a body levitating high above a fire pit.
Que isso aí, galera?
They later hear something in the surrounding woods.
Alguém ali, velho. Na hora que parecia que alguém caiu da árvore. Sai, mano. Os caras vindo. Vai. Os caras gritando, velho. Os caras gritando lá.
Now, back in the safety of their vehicle, they're left to ponder what their eyes saw. Without context, it's difficult to know what's going on here. Is this person being levitated by some dark magic? And for what purpose? I can't provide any insight on this one, but I do know that I'm super creeped out by the events here. A group of friends are hanging out late at night when a strange yelping sound brings them to a window to investigate.
Do you hear that? What the?
They start to argue about if it sounds like a regular animal in distress or some sort of rare and mysterious creature. Listen to these noises and tell me if this sounds like anything you've ever heard in the woods before. All of them soon start to feel uncertain about hanging around the open window and back away. I think it sounds like it could possibly be an animal that's being hunted, but I'm not sure. What do you think is happening? And would you be brave enough to go into the woods and find out? I wouldn't. Sometimes anger comes in the form of a crazy woman guarding her property. For YouTuber Jack Z in May of 2018, this was the case. Jack explains that he and his friends were riding along a trail they'd never explored. It led to a stranger's property, but it wasn't clear that they were on private property, as there weren't signs or fences around it. And in the video, it really doesn't appear private. It looks like a forest, a free-for-all. According to Jack, as they were heading out, a woman came out of nowhere and started confronting them.
I'm sorry, get off!
I'm sick and tired of you, bull!
This is the first time here!
Bull! You guys are here all the time,
no,
scaring my horses!
Grabbing hold of Jack's backpack to throw him off balance, which led him to busting his brake on a downed tree that was in front of him. As he climbs out from under his bike, she can be heard screaming at his friends as well. She then gets in his face, saying that him and his friends are there every weekend on her private property, scaring her horses. Jack writes, "Moral of the story is to be careful of what trails you choose to follow. It seems to me that this chilling event was just one big misunderstanding, and I hope this woman doesn't choose to act this way in similar future situations." This abandoned house ended up being one of the most active places that the YouTube team from iConjure TV has ever investigated. Here's just one example.
Lost.
Something definitely fell or moved. You can hear it plain as day.
Get lost.
I don't know what that was, but I think they should get out of there as quickly as they can before it's too late. Yes, poltergeists can be powerful, but this one is like its own microburst. Published by Find Ghost in August of 2021, this haunting footage was originally captured on a security camera in April of 2009, just after midnight. The footage shows an empty room with chairs stacked along one side. One chair is overturned in the middle of the room like it was flung there, and after seeing what happens next, perhaps it was, an object falls off a table, one of the stacked chairs wobbles back and forth, then all of a sudden all the chairs burst, as if flung forward simultaneously. A moment later, another invisible burst in the room sends all the objects flying momentarily into the air. In the last split second, everything flies sky high again. What is happening in this haunted room, and what will happen next? A YouTuber named Jude the Cool Dude is making a video tour of his house when he discovers something new on the 3rd floor.
Wait. Wait, is that a door?
Concealed behind a hidden wall panel is a cramped room with extremely small furniture, including a tiny table with a single candle for light. Terror spreads across Jude as it dawns upon him that he could very well be standing in the hiding spot of an intruder who has been living here for some time. It even looks like whoever inhabited this place may have rerouted the wiring to divert power to this part of the house. It's almost impossible to tell if this video was staged or legitimate, but with all of the stories I've read about people living in houses for years without being discovered, I really wouldn't be surprised if this was real. Either way, Jude decides to quietly close the trapdoor and never mention this find again. What if we are living in a simulation? Cross-posted to the Chills Narrator subreddit, the cross-poster suggests that this is visual proof that the universe is updating now. The video footage shows a spinning wheel of light in the sky, the type you see on your computer screen when the system is buffering. The wheel is seen at a distance and then close up. The short clip offers no explanation, leaving Redditors to reach the most extreme conclusions. Maybe they're just looking to get some of that McDonald's.
I just did some research, and I guess if you're gonna get lost at a dead end
creepy bridge, at least if there's some cool legend ghost story behind it, then it's worth checking out, right?
An outdoors YouTube channel called Nomadic Fanatic has been camping for a week when he comes across a spooky location, an old bridge that's haunted. According to legend, a bandit named Stuckley was brought to justice here.
And apparently every once in a while, if you hear a splash in the water, that's Stucky's ghost behind here. There's nothing you can really do about. We're out of here. That's about enough of that.
Nomadic Fanatic is all by himself, holding a GoPro when he hears a splash below, which is a bit too much of a coincidence, so I guess that means the ghost story could be real.
And unfortunately, there is a lot of graffiti left behind here. There's nothing you can really do about.
I mean, Nomadic Fanatic has been alone all week and has tons of video evidence to prove he was by himself when this happened. I don't see how it could be set up, and therefore I think this scary noise could be a paranormal encounter with a ghost EVP caught on camera. He has gotten into some crazy adventures in the past, but staying at this abandoned factory until 3 a.m. is probably one of the wildest yet. Outside, he finds a collection of what could be someone's belongings out in the forest, but decides to continue anyway. As soon as he puts his camera down to climb inside, he hears this noise. Which I think sounds like a door being slammed as hard as possible. When he finally comes across an entrance, he finds the door has been kicked hard many times, like somebody leaves this way every day, though to be honest, the footprints look to be about his shoe size, so maybe it was him. On the floor are dried red stains and a massive red streak across the wall that I think is paint, or at least I hope so, and that's when he hears it again, the same sound as before.
Reaching into the door and this. Like, what the f?
Someone's kicking doors open. Do they know he's here? Soon he comes across more red stains, but I think it's almost definitely paint considering the red wall has a similar streak on it as well. He's exploring various old burned out rooms. When it comes back, the same noise as before.
Was that? Guys, that was loud as f.
Two bangs coming from opposite sides. He must be surrounded. The fact that hype mic is not taking off by now makes me think this almost has to be fake, and this explanation is really unlikely.
What the f that was? Maybe it was like a bird or something.
But just when I started to doubt this video, this really strange sound plays. This doesn't sound like the wind to me, especially how it ends, but tell me what you think it is and if it's paranormal.
What the f?
Hype Mike makes it to nightfall without hearing any further noises. Maybe it's gone for now, whatever it is. He's trying to figure out a place to get some rest and wait out the rest of the challenge, but that's when the noises start again.
Yo! Something just moved in there. Hello? I don't think I actually...
The room where it came from is completely empty, but the complex is still occupied by something that has been waiting for the right time to strike, and that time is now. Hype Mike runs out of there fast, but makes the mistake of taking one last look. Do you think this is one of his friends or a person who's lost their mind? We've all encountered a Karen or two in our lives, but it's a rare occasion that we're faced with a Karen this far out of control. A ballistic individual was captured on video standing in the middle of an intersection, facing a bus, screaming at the top of her lungs. It's unclear what she's saying and why she's so angry. But what's become clear is that she's chosen to take her rage out on the bus. She targets the front window with her fist, shattering the glass. When she moves to the side door, what she's screaming is finally audible. She's telling someone to get off the bus. But whoever it is she's screaming at does not get off the bus, so she runs across the street, likely in order to escape prosecution for the damage done to public property. No further information could be found on this incident, so it's unknown what preceded the meltdown or followed it, if it was provoked, or why it escalated to this degree. Regardless, it seems like this went from 0 to 100 pretty quickly. A YouTuber named Wet Tent takes a friend and goes exploring a tunnel. They find creepy but aren't sure if it's haunted. There are 2 entrances, so Wet Tent goes down one and his friend goes down the other. Hey! He finds his friend face down and not responsive, and the video suddenly cuts out, which is what somebody would probably do if this were real. According to Wet Tent, his friend eventually regained consciousness and had no recollection of what made him pass out. It might have been the air quality, but I don't think so because Wet Tent didn't pass out. Whatever it was, it made him go down with a scream. Here it is one more time. Let me know if you think that was a real scream caught on tape because I'm not sure. Redditor Purgatory Adventures submitted this to the Chills Narrator subreddit, and they said it's one of the scariest events in Purgatory Adventures history. The Redditor described the events as the following. We captured footsteps coming down the stairs at us. The ghost hunting team appears to be in an abandoned building of some sort. One team member sits in the middle of a mostly empty room, but keep your eye on the door in the top right. And just like that, clear as day, they hear footsteps coming from the other side of that door, like someone is walking down some stairs.
What the f? That was like in the staircase, man.
Something tells me they're not alone in this place, but the question now is whether it's a ghost or a stranger. Which one do you think it is? Either way, I'd be staying far away from this place.
What the f? That was like in the staircase, man.
This Airbnb promises you a terrible night's sleep. Published by Chelsea Luna in October of 2020, this scary video takes you on a tour of America's most haunted Airbnb. Chelsea's creepy overnighter begins with a hiss.
What does that mean?
She looks around but sees nothing. Her dog doesn't take kindly to this place and starts barking at nothing. When she asks if there's anyone there, she hears a whistle.
Is anyone in here?
And later a knock sounds at the door, setting off the dog alarm.
Jeez.
After a while, she heads outside only to hear more disturbing noises. Back inside, she finds red liquid on the wall and later feels something right behind her.
Is there a spirit?
Oh my gosh.
Quiet.
As they're later talking to a demon named Raymond, a water bottle falls on its own, startling them. They continue talking to the spirit when something loud is heard. It looks like an object flies in Chelsea's face.
Are you a demon?
As the pair are considering leaving the haunted Airbnb to grab a coffee at Starbucks, you hear a loud thump.
I'll just drive. I don't care. I'm down to go.
We're gonna stop at the gas station to get a chocolate shop.
Sounds like Raymond, the demon, doesn't want them to go. Submitted to the Chills Narrator subreddit by FitEntry2562. This Redditor wrote, "Lightning without thunder." Let's watch their submission and see what they're talking about. There was certainly some debate about this video in the comments. Zoidberg GE thinks that this is heat lightning, while Tillman117 wrote, there's no such thing as heat lightning. The reason why you can't hear it is because it's simply too far away. The light from lightning can travel a very large distance as the sound cannot, considering clouds can be thousands of feet in the air, and the distance you are from that cloud currently can just mean it's too far away for you to hear it. So it seems like both sides are at least in agreement that this mysterious storm has an explanation, but nevertheless, what do you think this is? Let me know in the comments. Carmen's home is more haunted than ever by the previous owner, a man who lived there for 50 years and whose spirit refuses to go away anytime soon. I've covered Carmen on this channel before, but she has sent me more video evidence in an exclusive update you'll only find on Chills. The more she communicates with the apparition in her home, the more it seems to understand her. These videos were taken on 3 different spirit boxes, and the same male voice talks to her each time.
I'm gonna turn this off and listen, okay? I'm gonna listen. Holy.
Also, just no problem.
Should we talk?
We should talk. I'm trying to talk to you. Is there a demon in my house? Can you tell me what color my shirt is?
Really don't know exactly.
Over time, its powers grow, and it seems to feed off her energy and the attention it receives.
What's your name? And the flashlight went on.
And after a while, it doesn't even need paranormal equipment to whisper to her at night. One night, while opening the front door, she discovers what it is that wants her to feel such fear. A shadow figure with demon horns stands over her for a split second, and then it's gone. And then there's this unexplained lights that follow her from room to room. I thought she was shining a flashlight against the wall, but look again. It starts out small at 2 minutes and 8 seconds. Then it gets in her face and goes away. At no point do you see a ray of light coming from her flashlight, because she's not holding one. If this is random dust, then explain why it's popping out of the chest of this creepy doll and heading straight towards her camera. The paranormal activity seems to be growing more intense, so I'll keep you updated with new events as soon as they happen, which I'm sure they will be soon. And if you're wondering why Carmen gives the ghost so much attention, it's because ignoring it apparently puts it in a foul mood and causes even worse things to occur. Number 1. A YouTuber named Chris Lamb says that he was all alone when he shot this drone footage at Fort McClellan, Alabama, but the video says otherwise. You can clearly see that nobody is in the background at the beginning. But when Chris steadies the camera just a moment later, you can see someone standing by the street lamp. There's not enough time for anyone to walk out from behind a building, but yet here they are. Also, did you see how they seem to suddenly disappear in plain sight? I don't see any editing cuts, so I have absolutely no idea how this dark silhouette managed to vanish like that. Look again and you can definitely see them dematerialize. There's nothing wide enough for them to hide behind. They're just gone. Let me know if you think Chris Lamb's video is paranormal, extraterrestrial, or otherwise. I am looking for more information about this scary video because I could not find the brave ghost hunter who caught all of this paranormal evidence on camera. This house has a dangerous djinn inside, a spirit bent on scaring the ghost hunter away.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم إنه من سليمان.
The door seems too far away for him to be opening it with his foot.
من شر ما خلق. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. أعوذ بكلمات الله التامات من شر ما خلق. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم.
Later, a bucket on the floor mysteriously moves all by itself seconds later, and when he looks up, this shadow figure is caught in the light of his camera, and when he turns around, nothing is there, but the carpet flutters as if a stampede is coming through. I don't see how they are faking this part, so I am inclined to believe this might be real paranormal activity caught on tape. This alleged ghost video was taken on the second floor of a college, but I think it might simply be a chair getting pulled by string. Still, do you see anything here when zoomed in? I can't say I do. A YouTuber named Lanzo has a haunted ranch that he is afraid to visit. He knows at least one of the buildings is haunted because his uncle told him about a full conversation that he had with a strange man who said that he was a demon and then promptly and mysteriously disappeared right in front of him on the spot. Ever since then, the 1-acre property has been overrun with paranormal activity.
Just from that day and now on, it's always been like creepy for me and my cousins to come here at night. Thought I heard something that was scared.
Do you guys hear that? Do you guys hear that?
He hears scary whispering voices haunting the woods nearby and quickly shakes the thought away, but I think I might have heard the whispering voices too, followed by other scary noises that may or may not have been the wind. It's 3 a.m. and as they approach, they can feel the paranormal energy feeding off of their fear. Their equipment refuses to focus on one paranormal hotspot, and they know it's because a ghost is haunting them.
Right there.
What the f***, you guys?
And I'm gonna impact.
Their night vision and motion tracking paranormal equipment detect a super tall figure standing in the same place they felt was haunted, and it's making the dogs bark like crazy too. The animals are familiar with Lanzo, so I think these pets are having a ghost sighting of their own.
There's literally a figure right there.
The dogs aren't even facing them, further evidence that something paranormal has their interest.
Something's clearly back there.
And even the horse seems to freak out as well. I feel sorry for all of the terrifying encounters that these poor animals probably have on a regular basis living on this haunted ranch. The horse begins moving frantically at 6 minutes and 58 seconds, and then they detect a ghost trying to climb some firewood to hitch a ride. The panicking animal sways back and forth to get away from the apparition, but to no avail. I don't know if this horse is freaking out over a ghost sighting, or if it's just asking them for some food. This is a 3 a.m. video though, so I don't think the horse should be hungry.
We noticed that there was a figure that was dancing with the horse like next to it. Like literally right there, you guys, like I'm getting the chills. I'm terrified right now.
Behind this gate is where the dogs were barking at something, and that's when they get really scared because their paranormal equipment goes off again.
I literally can't feel my feet, like
It's starting to detect something.
dude.
They need to go around the building to see what's on the other side of the gate, but they hardly get a few steps before their camera goes out of focus.
Over here.
And in the woods, they hear a really weird voice, like laughter. When they consult their paranormal equipment for a translation, it interprets only one word.
If there's anyone here with us, give us a sign.
Goodbye.
Oh my God, no.
And it utters this phrase. A single ghost orb flies into them. I wouldn't be surprised if this ranch was haunted by skinwalkers after all. Skinwalkers are paranormal tricksters who will often haunt ranches built on ancient prairie lands. So with this in mind, a ghost sighting on this ranch would make sense. Ever tried to poke a thread through the eye of a needle? Well, that's basically what bus drivers do on Needles Highway in South Dakota. This video is not for the claustrophobic. Highway 87 near Rapid City, South Dakota, and Custer State Park earned its nickname due to its narrow, single-lane roads, deadly defying twists and turns, and of course, the needles, which are narrow granite tunnels that vehicles navigate. That is, if their drivers have got the guts. The tunnels were created by blasting through mountains, forming walls of sheer rock on either side. Believe it or not, some buses attempt the crazy feat of driving their big hauls through the narrow tunnels. These drivers show no fear as they prepare to undertake a Mission Impossible level task of weaving down this dangerous road while also looking out for falling rocks. Just watching makes you hold your breath in anticipation. But never fear, slowly but surely, this particular driver succeeded with only inches of room to spare on either side of the tunnel. Something materializes before the group during the scary Ouija session. Published by Cazadores de Sombras in February of 2022, two of the paranormal crew are in the middle of a session when one of them seems beyond freaked out. In the middle of this session, they sense someone in the hallway or the next room. They go in search of the spirit but find nothing. As they continue the session, the planchette flies across the board. It's not long before the head nun makes her appearance. They all jump away. Then they find the Ouija board in flames. Throwing it over, they turn to the crew member behind which the nun appeared. He's completely out of it, like he's been knocked out. They carry their friend out, but they're uncertain if they're safe from the nun. This is the type of experience that would practically leave anyone scared shirtless. This home surveillance video shows a round transparent object dart across someone's front yard. It starts from a walkway and then goes down a hill towards the house, perhaps looking for a way inside. Meanwhile, whatever this is supposed to be glares at the camera without moving, and when I zoom in, I think those might be horns. Two friends are just kidding around when one of them goes running up the steps laughing and smiling, probably to grab the camera, I guess. There's a pause as if the two of them see something, and then a scream that doesn't match their playful laughter seconds ago. Most people agree that she was just being silly and slipped, but others feel she was dragged down by something that was with them both. She doesn't scream as she falls, but it happens so fast that she might have been too surprised. A YouTuber named Chase on Two Wheels is riding around Atlanta, Georgia with a friend when two strangers approach and ask a lot of direct questions.
Huh? What kind of bike?
Y'all recording?
Yeah.
The men immediately back off when they learn he is recording with a helmet cam. That's when Chase's friend notices something is very wrong. One of the men never takes his hand out of his pocket, and when they review the footage, they see what appears to be some kind of firearm. Maybe they are jumping to conclusions, but there's just no way to know what would have happened next if the men didn't notice Chase was recording. Based on what you've seen here, let me know if you think they really were armed or just making friendly conversation. When you're arguing whether a shirt is red or maroon, the ghosts in your presence will know they've had enough of you two. Published to YouTube in May of 2020, this is what happens when a ghost gets fed up with your bickering, throws up his hands and storms out of the house he's haunting. The uploader explains that during their last visit to this place, they experienced the door slamming but didn't have a chance to record it, so this time they returned to capture it on film. This video is cut down to 3 minutes of the 50 that were recorded. The clip shows the boys arguing whether or not one of their shirts is red before deciding to call it quits with the filming, since it had been nearly an hour. Just then, something clearly slams in the distance. The uploader says his friend thought it was the hinges of the door rather than a ghost, but decides that the video is proof it wasn't the hinges. He also claims that he and a friend saw a shadow person in this building as well. The uploader writes, something said that it could have been air in the last upload, but it wasn't sure. The thing, if it was air, it would have opened it. The air is coming from outside, so it would push out to open. Instead, what we caught was a ghost slamming the door the opposite direction of where the air was coming from, so the force of the door slamming was going against the air. This was filmed in Harlingen, Texas, and there wasn't much airflow in the place according to the uploader. The group was sweating from so much stale heat. Well, maybe the ghost was too. Could there be spirits all around us, just out of sight? Posted to the r/paranormal encounters subreddit. One Blueberry336 asks, is this an orb? In the video, her puppy is sitting in his cage on high alert. He starts whining and lays down. Then he starts howling. Mid-howl, a light orb flies by, somehow seeming to alert the dog to its presence. The dog stops his howl and looks right at it. Some in the comments think the pup really does seem to be startled by the orb and think it could possibly be paranormal, but others think it's a puppy and a flying bug. What do you think it is? Remember, animals have a better sense of the paranormal than humans. A video taken from an undisclosed neighborhood in East Texas captures on camera some scary noises from the woods at night. Scary noises that certainly have to be hungry wolves laying territorial claim.
Down by the way.
So if those were wolves, tell me what this next scary noise is, or more importantly, why it's coming straight towards him. People in the comments are saying that this sounds like a half-wolf, half-human creature. The uploader has lived here for a long time, and the scary voice in the woods is enough to send him running back inside, because he's never heard anything like it before, although he probably should have never gone outside to begin with if you ask me. According to one comment, there's been lots of reports of these scary noises in East Texas for years now, without a proper explanation. If you live here, then let me know if you've heard the unexplained screams and what you think they are. Former President Barack Obama once had a Secret Service agent protecting him who has since become the center of many eerie rumors and unsettling theories found online. This video shows the agent standing a few rows into a crowd during one of Obama's speeches. The agent is very broad, but his head and neck are far narrower and more angular than his wide shoulders or body. He also repeats the same set of odd movements over and over again. The agent behind him does not, but it's this far shot that has raised the most questions. The nose, jaw, and chin all appear to be the same length. The brow is set far back, and the eyes are way down by the neckline, while the crown of the head and the occipital bone are disproportionately enlarged. I think it's hard to say for sure in both videos because of the distance. If we get a third video that was closer and more detailed, then a more accurate determination could be made. However, I don't believe this mysterious agent was ever spotted again. Scary Surreal Places in Time Lapse is a YouTube channel that speeds up raw footage of odd and interesting locations in search of anything out of the ordinary. They are recording a pier at random when this strange creature comes rushing towards them. I would say this is just a fish, but the animal clearly starts on land and paddles to them before submerging at the last second. They shine their lights around both sides of the pier, but whatever it was is long gone. The animal is very small, but the wide wake left in its path suggests that it's much more powerful than it seems. Leave me your best guess as to what this could be, because even the uploaders of this video have never seen anything move like it before, and they themselves are not sure what it was. This next video, made to raise awareness, is supposed to replicate voices in your head. Among the many visual and audio delusions is one in particular that really gets to me, a girl with no eyes who appears at random. The girl with no eyes is apparently very common and reported by many. The following scene is an example of how she usually comes to them, or rather for them.
She is here.
Nowhere is safe from the girl with no eyes, because once she is in your mind, there's nowhere to hide. This is what it's supposed to be like when she finds you. No one knows why so many people have reported seeing the exact same figure. Maybe it's a subconscious manifestation of a common fear we all have, or maybe it's some type of possession that's driving people to madness. If this video is just a simulation, then I can only imagine how terrifying the real thing must be face to face. What's more terrifying than your child staring at something invisible in the middle of the night when you hear someone talking to her? Posted to the Ghosts subreddit, DeSoto14 explains, "Everyone was asleep in the house, but something told me to check my daughter's monitor. She was sleeping, then sat up and stared at the door. The Redditor is wondering what the strange noise might be at the 10-second mark of the recording." There seems to be a consensus in the comments that the voice says the word listen. Others say it just sounds like a frog croaking to them. The Redditor notes that her daughter doesn't remember anything from the incident, whatever the voice is saying. If it really is a voice, the girl sitting up, seemingly aware of the presence, in and of itself is terrifying. In a frightening Twitter thread, Gregory88 shares a frankly freaky series of posts about an experience in the woods, including a video that has Twitter more than a bit concerned. Greg's thread begins on November 30th, 2018, where he claims to have seen something in the woods. He tweets, "Even though it might not be super safe to be out alone in the woods, it still feels better than being home all the time." He continues writing that he was walking in some woods that would be pretty if they didn't feel so creepy. Just when he was starting to feel at ease, he came across something strange in a clearing, but he only made it about 30 feet before he ran into something much creepier. He posts a picture of what he found. It appears to be an animal skull of some kind, mounted on a rock within a blackened triangle. Other smaller rocks are placed around the triangle, and on the skull in some sort of ritualistic looking design. Greg writes that he discovered something new in the wilderness every day, but he isn't nearer to comprehending what's going on. He said he felt dizzy as he headed away from the rock towards his home, but again he didn't make it far before he ran into yet another fright, a hooded woman dressed in black hovering at a distance on a hillside looking at nothing. Greg says she didn't see him as he hid behind a tree. Apparently he'd seen her before in these woods, but it had been weeks since his last sighting. After she left the hillside and drifted off into the forest, Greg darted home, fearing the whole while that she'd pop out and confront him. He asks the Twitter sphere if she's a witch. If not, what are these strange ritualistic displays? He also claims the video is proof that his imagination hadn't run wild. At this point, I just want answers, and I feel like I'm getting close to getting them, Greg writes. I'm just scared of what they might be. We're all pretty scared, Greg. We all are. A father and son are awash with excitement and horror when a sea creature passes by hoping for a family-sized meal. A giant shark circles around for a closer look. There's no reason for it to come over here other than to feast. Someone say if it's a great white like they claim. The coast is right there, which is good for them, but scary for the town. The shark is curious, hungry, and not afraid to come very close to shore, as it appears. This large reptilian sea creature was allegedly spotted rampaging through a small village in Spain. It looks like it's going back to the ocean from where it came, but it also looks like it's probably special effects and not real. It also seems to look right at the camera and notices them at the last moment, which is a little too over the top for me to readily believe. If this brown fish tongue looks a little peculiar to you, then you are absolutely right.
And it may look like an ordinary fish tongue.
The last time I checked, ordinary fish tongue shouldn't have dozens of wriggling feet on the bottom.
It's almost like a beetle. But if you look closely, it has little feet that move around.
What you are looking at is actually a common parasite among fish. It grows inside of the fish's mouth in a rather grotesque manner, first eating away the fish's tongue entirely, and then securely fastening itself in the tongue's place. The fish must now share its food with the parasite if it wants to survive. Hopefully, this clever parasite never figures out a way to somehow transition to our species. For all we know, it may just be a matter of time. Filipino YouTuber Tabiapo has captured a real Sigbin on camera in Barangay Sanko. After finding evidence of the creature, they come to the edge of this tall grass.
And guys, tinawag na natin yung mga elemento. Tignan natin kung lalabas ngayong hapon.
That's when they see this.
Ito na yung sinasabing Sigbin, guys. Nakita nyo? Ayan, oh. Ayan, naglalakad yung Sigbin, oh. Klaro-klaro, oh.
The creature has black fur. You can't even discern shades of color. He looks like a shadow himself.
Sigbin talaga, oh. Ito yung sinasabi ni Manang Flor kanina. Yung malaki yung tinga, tapos pula yung mata. Napakaitim na nilalang. Ayan yung creature na sinasabi ko. Ayan, oh. Oh?
Then it starts coming toward them.
Parang pupunta dito. Mga katabs, oh. Oh? Parang pupunta siya dito. Alis to, ah. O yan, dyan ka lang. O mga katabs, tingnan nyo, ha. Aagisan ko ng dapag na may orasyon.
Apparently these leaves are protection. What do you think of the Sigbin? To me, it looks a bit like a monkey with large bat-like ears. Its complete darkness also instills paranormal fear of the unknown. All I know is, I don't want that thing feeding on my shadow. This unsolved CCTV video shows a man struggling to drag something heavy down the steps late at night. As he makes a turn, you can see he's pulling a black bag that's quite large out of view. While this is happening, somebody who is staying late at the office happens to see him, which is how I guess this videotape was reported and later archived for further investigation. Nothing else happens until 42 minutes later when the incident repeats itself. The creepy man drags another mysterious black bag down the steps and out the door. At 10 seconds, you get a better look and it definitely looks like a garbage bag to me. I really hope that this person wasn't dragging two people out, but that's exactly what it looks like happens. Maybe there's a good alternate explanation, but I have no idea why this guest would wait until the middle of the night to remove these objects from his room and never return.
You see it?
Yeah. What is that? Gosh.
Let's get out of here.
Yeah.
Something strange is in the woods. Nathan Arnold later writes of the unknown creature he's caught on camera. He and his son both saw it and managed to record video evidence for us to look over. Fortunately for their safety, but unfortunate for my analysis, is their distance from the figure. The creepy video is taken far away, so I don't know if this video is a creature, a ghost sighting, or not real at all. The way he and his son both stare in amazement and then run away when the mysterious figure turns in his direction seems like a real enough reaction and not made up. At 26 seconds, it almost looks like somebody wearing a black robe, like a witch or something. The possibilities are endless and none of them are good. The point is, I wouldn't be going back into those woods anytime soon if I were them. It's too scary to handle. If you're looking for a haunted location, your best bet is to choose somewhere with a scary history. Steve Ronan, an American urban explorer, traveled to the United Kingdom to investigate a Victorian-style mansion believed to be the site of a gruesome taking of life. Despite its longevity, the event took place in 2006 when then homeowner Christopher Lumsden ended his wife's life in a jealous rage. She had allegedly just returned from dinner with her lover when the incident occurred. Despite the viciousness of the event, Lumsden only served 5.5 years when he was released on license, the British legal system's equivalent of parole. Intrigued by the story, Ronan decided to investigate at the home in order to see if he could come up with answers. Upon arrival, the front of the house is littered with large trash, including several beds, some broken walls, and what appears to be clothing. At the time the video was filmed, renovations were ongoing to prepare the house to be put up for sale. It is unknown if the trash was from the house itself or was left there randomly, but it would be strange if so many pieces of clothing were left behind. The first bit of the video is Ronan and his team exploring the house, finding it in a state of disrepair. At one point, they find a strange piece of wallpaper on the floor. The same system is seen covering the walls of a room. Written on it are various strange phases, including Carpe Diem Dungeons Fire, Jungle Truth or Dare Power. What this means is a mystery, and it's a strange design to have as a wallpaper. Things quickly take a turn for the creepy when they find a red stain on the floor of one of the rooms in front of a dresser. On closer inspection, it is a sizable red blot stained into the floorboard that was once beneath the now torn up carpet. It definitely is believable that it's what we're all thinking, since the coloration does resemble when such a stain has aged over time. One of the crew decides to shine a UV light on the spot. As he explains, the spot remains visible as a dark purple under the light, instead of blending into the floor. Also, while it is not mentioned, there are spots that weren't visible when the light wasn't on. Going off the find, they decide to begin a spirit box session in the room. The method they use is simple, as they find a radio and rapidly shift through the channels. After a couple of questions and one false alarm, a voice comes through the static saying, "You were tricked."
You were tricked? Did you just hear you were tricked?
This is strange, as immediately before that, they were discussing whether or not they were deceived into believing another house entirely was the location of the gruesome life-taking. At the beginning of the video, they spoke with a security guard of another residence who claimed the occupied house was the actual location of the incident. However, they were not allowed in and went to this house nearby that is also said to be where the incident happened. Could it be possible they are communicating with something who knows they were tricked? The group hears various answers come through the radio, although admittedly it is hard to hear whether it is actually something answering them or simply words from the radio programs coming through and sounding like answers. Next, the group decides to conduct an EVP session to see if they can hear anything else. During the session, the group hears noises and something like shuffling is picked up on the EVP. At this time, nobody in the room is moving or talking. They also hear something that sounds like chewing or moving their mouth. After asking a question, some sort of faint whisper can be heard right before the next question is asked.
If so, who was the one who murdered you?
Unfortunately, it's too difficult to decipher what, if anything, is being said as it is too quiet. After nothing else seems to come through, finally the group uses an actual spirit box, which automatically and rapidly changes stations so quickly you can't hear what is being said by the program. Ronan asks if anyone can tell what happened and if there was an event of a life being taken. Soon after, a voice comes through with what sounds like yes, immediately followed by what sounds like someone died. Soon, a male voice comes through with what Ronan thinks sounds like wasn't me.
So much activity now.
The moment that is guaranteed to send chills down your spine is when a woman, either laughing, crying, or possibly screaming, can be heard. The investigation wraps soon after, and Ronan leaves with what could be considered valuable evidence. The event that occurred in the home has left an imprint, and not just the stain on the floor. Josh is afraid of heights and his family is giving him a hard time about it. They bet him some money that he won't be able to stay on the ledge of a watchtower for long. He takes the bet and this is his immediate reaction.
Oh my god. Can I please look it? No. You gotta be out for one whole minute.
Josh's family ups the ante to $10 if he can make it all the way around the walkway. Pale and shaky, he inches his way across the platform, timidly clinging to the wall at times to keep from falling over. At one point, it looks like he isn't going to make it much longer.
Escape out here.
Okay, I'm ready to turn around.
Nope.
I can't do it. There's people in the way. I can't stand up here for this long.
But he summons all of his strength and eventually makes it full circumference. If you have a fear of heights, then let me know if you would be willing to walk around this tower for $10 like Josh just did, or if it would take way more to make you budge. You might want to rethink booking that Airbnb after seeing this scary video posted to the r/ghosts subreddit by Lemonisa. The Redditor writes that spooky sounds during the first night in this rental home in Norway kept waking her and her partner. This prompted her to start recording. This is what she captured. In an upper slanted window facing the living room, a mysterious white anomaly appears. After a moment, the anomaly slowly fades away before completely vanishing. It's not clear if the figure is beyond the window looking in, or something inside the house is being reflected. Some in the comments think it looks extraterrestrial. Others say it looks like a face or hand pressed against the glass. The Redditor mentions in the comments that this house was haunted. She says that they'd be sitting in the living room and would hear random things fall from the counter and strange noises from the basement. She notes that this first night in the home was especially creepy. Would you have the courage to remain a second night in the house if you saw this in the window? I sure wouldn't. Are you willing to risk your life for a thrill? Before you put on your hiking shoes, watch this video of Huashan Mountain, published to YouTube in June of 2018. An unsubstantiated rumor is that the mountain takes 100 lives annually, and after watching this footage, it certainly seems plausible. Pedro writes, once you are going up the mountain, there is not much protection for you. One of the most difficult parts of the hike is the cliffside plank walk. You are quite literally walking the plank, hanging on to the side of a mountain peak for dear life. Pedro notes that it's one of the mountain's most popular attractions, and there's often a 3 or more hour queue to walk the plank, as you can see in the video. When Pedro arrives at the plank, he's one among many climbers hanging onto a rusty old chain. As they take their precarious steps along the piece of broken wood, a 7,070-foot drop lies below. Pedro says some people take off their harness in order to capture better photos, hence the risk of the mountain. Climbing the mountain is enough of a risk, makes you wonder, is a photo really worth your life? While in search of the ghost of the Headless Man, YouTube team KBC Cazadores de Fantasmas encounters some unexplained activity. As they're touring the haunted area, they hear strange sounds.
Shh.
Later, while communicating through the spirit box, they see the gate close on its own.
Porteiro, gente, ó. Porteiro fechou, gente.
Then, down by the water, they spot something unusual on the opposite bank.
Escutei, irmão, escutei.
Here it is again. What made an appearance on the riverbank? Was it the same entity that opened the gate? I can't be sure, but I am impressed by what the team has captured here. I think it calls for further investigation. This YouTuber works security at a building that's so haunted, he can't even get past to the elevator without scary stuff happening. It's gotten to the point where he records anywhere he goes because the place is seriously that haunted by paranormal poltergeist activity everywhere. The building has a nice gym room, for example, but it seems the equipment is always in use one way or another. Weird things are always caught on camera moving around on their own when he's out of arm's length.
Para darles una sorpresa a cuando vengan, que no saben que estoy aquí. ¡Hostias!
But it is perhaps this haunted playroom area that sees the most paranormal activity of all. So that's a lot of freaky stuff to have happened, but he's been making videos for years, and I've saved the absolute scariest video for last. You're not going to believe this one because it's that beyond creepy. He lives alone and hears the voices of a family coming from his room. When he calls into the darkness, he is answered by the shadow person sighting. The dark outline of a shadow moving in the small amounts of light coming through a crack in the door.
Hostia, la luz.
There's no doubt that somebody was in there with him, but was it planned, or was it a real ghost sighting caught on video? I think when you look at all of the paranormal video evidence caught on tape, you'll conclude that this place is really haunted. He could be faking it, but I don't really see how. Also, with barely any views on his videos, I don't see why he would continue for years on end, unless it was really happening to him. This footage comes from the Lincoln County Courthouse in Charlotte, North Carolina. Deputies are watching the security monitors after hours when they spot a woman standing alone in an empty room. They rush into the nearby location to see what she is up to and if she needs help. Not only is the woman still there, but she is totally transparent and they are able to walk straight through her. When the local news channel comes to investigate, they see the same ghost again, this time in the cashier's office.
While shooting today, we saw it again in color in the middle of the screen, just over Barbara Jones' shoulder.
Both times, the ghostly woman appears to be jotting something down in a notepad. Some people are suggesting that she could just be a reflection, but the news team could find nothing capable of replicating the highly detailed shape of a woman. If this really is a spirit, then who knows why she is here, or what supernatural secrets her notepad holds. When you investigate haunted places, expect to be followed home. Posted to the Chills Narrator subreddit, So That's Scary claims a spirit from a ghost ship followed them home. Originally published to YouTube by SDK Paranormal in September of 2020, the YouTuber explains, there is a lot of strange things happening outside, which we really do think is directly related to a spirit named George that followed us home from an investigation. So what happened? Robert explains in the video that ever since the team investigated the USS Edson, they've been encountering the spirit of George. The security footage shows a shadow appearing to knock on their door. According to Robert, they heard 3 knocks inside as this occurred. The spirit threw rocks, appeared as orbs in their photos, and spoke to them via EVP. This is when they set up security cameras and caught this on video. George shows up in the form of bright orbs, invariably a black shadow orb, which seemingly causes a chair to move. Next, the kickstand on the bike goes up of its own accord. The spirit is wild, but perhaps he just wants to be friends. On the other hand, he's throwing rocks. Who knows what he wants? In this lost tape, some young punks are playing around with a brown paper bag, throwing it at each other before they go to plant it on the doorstep of a stranger. Once it's placed there and lit, one of the punks knocks on the door and races away, while the old man homeowner opens the door to find it flaming there and stomps it out. It probably didn't seem so funny when the men attempted to prank him for a second time. This time the old man comes after them and they just manage to escape, but the third time's a charm. When the prank is attempted a third time, the man is waiting for them. He peers down through the curtains of the door window, whips open the door to strike the young guy on the head, and then drags him into the house. When the 2 others go to investigate, they videotape the front hallway, where the old man is seen leaving into the next room. They then head around the outside of the house and into the backyard. That's where they meet their maker. No other information on what happened next could be found. A Reddit user named JMilka7 posted this weird doorbell camera video that she'll never forget anytime soon. I want to say that this is a bug, except it's glowing non-stop and appears to come together and then separate at 1 minute and 22 seconds. According to the accompanying post, this was the endpoint of some long beam of light that scanned his driveway all the way to his door and then back, over and over again, for about an hour between 9:40 and 10:40 at night. From the way she describes it, I wonder if someone had their house in their infrared sights and was waiting to take their lives. Cookstown is considered one of the scariest and most haunted places in Ontario, and weird things like this creepy unexplained photograph is one of the many reasons why. On July 30th, 2015, a paranormal investigator took a picture of a store named The Workshop that I think needs a closer look. Take a look at this photo and tell me if you see anything weird. If not, things are about to get creepy for you. Here's a close-up of the same picture to help you see it better. A giant frowning face takes up the top right window of the building. Tell me if you think this is paranormal or a coincidence. It would have been interesting to return the next day and see if the face was still there, but considering this happened years ago, I guess we will never get that opportunity. I reached out to this channel for more info, and they now think it was shadows cast from a warped wooden frame. I'll take their word for it, but I'm not sure how warped wood would cause this extra eerie face to appear. I guess sometimes the explanation to an unsolved thing can be quite bizarre. When there, posted to the Ghosts subreddit, Resurrect writes, The DeSoto Mine in Arizona is the creepiest place I've ever been. At the time this was taken, nobody else was there. Yet listen closely to their recording. From deep within the mine, you can hear footsteps walking on what sounds like wooden planks. The Redditor says in the video that his eyes are playing tricks on him, but he writes that they didn't hear anything but water droplets at the time. They only heard the footsteps later as they watched the recording back.
I really hope it's not my eyes playing with me, but...
Is something in this tunnel with them? Some in the comments think it's paranormal. Others suggest the water droplet theory, which is that the echoing of water droplets can distort to the point that they sound like other sounds. What do you think? Is this nothing but distorted water droplets? Or is something at the end of that dark tunnel? Thank you so much for getting me to 50,000 subscribers here on my Clips channel. If you want to support, please press that subscribe button. Let's get to 60,000 subscribers next. Thank you.